So let's go over a few problems that cover exponent rules. Let's start with the basics here at level 2 with number 10. So we have some quantity, which is this. All of that is raised to the 4th power. So that power gets distributed to both. So we can rewrite that as the first term to the 4th and then the second term to the 4th. And when we use the power rule, we know that 4 times 2 is 8, and that's y to the 4th, and you're done. So let's look at a 2.5, number 11. Here we have this and this. We know that there's multiplication going on in between both of those. So we can separate them if you want, right? And we know that 6 over 2 is 3. And then by the quotient rule, 7 minus 4 is 3. And that's as simplified as it gets. So let's look at a more complicated product rule, right, where we have a negative exponent. So as long as you have the same base, you can just add the exponents. So negative 13 plus 4 is negative 9, plus 6 is negative 3. And we can't have a negative exponent in our answer, so that whole thing just moves to the denominator. Or you could think about it like this. What stays on top is j to the 4th and j to the 6th, and this goes to the bottom. And then we can simplify j to the 10th over j to the 13th. There's going to be 3 more j's on the bottom, so we have 3 more j's down here. Let's look at some level 3 problems. So this number 34 is a more complex fraction problem. We know that 2 over 8 is 1 over 4. We know that 4 minus 7 is negative 3, so those 3's are going to be on the bottom. We know that negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7. Or we know that this 4 comes down, which you see over here. Right? So if we just bring it down, we know y to the 3rd times y to the 4th is y to the 7th. Okay. Now number 35, we have a power rule here, right? So this 3 gets distributed to all parts. 4 to the 3rd is 64. X to the 4th to the 3rd is 4 times 3 is 12. Y to the negative 4th, 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. And then that negative 12 comes to the bottom. Let's talk about some 4's. So how do we distribute a negative? Well, same way, right? Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Negative 2 times positive 3 is negative 6. Negative 2 onto the coefficient is just 2 to the negative 2. So let's just write all that out and then move things to the bottom. They go to the bottom. So this is going to come down, this is going to come down, and the positive 6 is going to stay up top. And then the only thing we have to simplify is 2 squared is 4, and we're done. So number 38, the most complicated one you might see for mastery. Always do parentheses first. So let's do this, this, and this. So 3 minus 2 is 1, right? And that's done. 2 minus 3 is negative 1, which means it's on the bottom. C to the 0 is 1, so it cancels. And we leave those c to the 7th. We leave that on the bottom. Now, this whole thing, remember, is to the negative 2. So I'm going to take this negative 2, and I'm going to apply it to that, to that, to that, to that, and to that. And I know that if I applied it down here, if I applied it on the bottom, it's just going to bring it up to the top because it's negative. And if I apply it on the top, it's just going to come to the bottom. So I just went ahead and did all that, right? I brought this to the bottom and I squared it. And I brought this to the top and I squared it. And when we simplify, 2 times 7 is 14. B squared and 9. And 2 times A is a squared, or sorry, a squared is a squared. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, and that's your answer.